Hi, my name's Jennifer Hutton and this is DOSA, and today we're going to talk about bandaging. So first we're going to start with polo bandaging. Polo bandaging is used to protect the horse's legs from interfering hind leg to front leg or front leg to other front leg. Sometimes we use them on the hind legs to protect them from interfering with each other. A lot of people use polo bandaging as a fashion statement. You can use lots of different colors and they look very good on the horses. So to start the polo bandage, you'll start on the inside of the leg, just below the knee, and you'll wrap where it will always go towards the back on the outside. You'll want to pull evenly throughout the wrap. You don't want to pull tight on any other part, any certain part, just to avoid, you don't want to cord the horse's leg. Uneven pressure will cause that, and you want even lapping, so the space between each layer of this wrap needs to be even. And then once you get down to the fetlock, you'll go just below the air gate on the back side, and you'll come back up on the front to make a nice V in the center of the fetlock joint on the front. You can go around the fetlock joint twice. However, I do not have enough wrap to do that today on this particular horse. And you'll keep going even pressure, even lapping, back up. Ideally, you want the Velcro to end on the outside of the wrap. However, that does not always happen. And you want it to end even at the top where you started. And you don't want it too high around here. So for the standing wrap, you'll need a pillow, a track bandage, and masking tape if you don't have Velcro on your track bandage. So just like a polo wrap, you'll start on the inside and you will wrap towards the back on the outside. With the pillow, you don't want it too tight, but you want it snug enough that it won't move once you get it on. And you want to make sure you have an even lay there. And sometimes you have to pull down the back to make it even on the back side as well, because the horse's leg is not a straight line, and this is created in a straight line. So once you do that, you have the option of tucking the track bandage in, and you have the option of putting the track bandage on the outside. I prefer to put the track bandage tucked because I feel like it gives me a better hold. Now since she has a relatively short leg, we're going to start at the very tip top. And you want about an inch and a half, or a half inch to an inch on the top of the pillow showing. You want it snug, even lapping, but not so tight that you'll constrict the tendons or the blood flow too much. Down. I am being rather conservative with the size of my lapping due to the fact that she has rather short legs. I'm going to pull around to make it even on the bottom side so that we can make sure that the pillow lays flat. Okay, and now we've got to the bottom of the pillow on the back side. We'll go ahead and start going back up. And you want all of your track bandage to lay flat with no wrinkles to avoid uneven pressure and cording. And then you arrive back at the top. Make sure it lays flat. You want the Velcro to end on the outside on these as well. This wrap does have Velcro, so we won't use the masking tape just yet. I'll demonstrate that with the stack wrap. I mean, you can see that it minimally restricts movement on the knee and minimally down here. The size of your your pillow depends on the amount of movement that it constricts, and that is all just personal preference or depending on what you're trying to accomplish with your standing wrap. So now we're going to add the stack wrap to our standing wrap. We have a nice even base for the stack wrap to sit on. For stack wraps, you will also need elasticon. And for this particular bandage, it does not have Velcro, so we will need the masking tape to close it. And this is an extra long track bandage so that it's long enough to make it down and back up on this stack wrap. We chose a rather small pillow for this because she has the shorter leg, and we don't want to completely constrict up here. We just want to protect here and limit motion in the knee.
Oh.
So to begin this, start on the inside and roll around to the back. And we want our wrap to set evenly on the top of our standing wrap. We want everything to lay flat. You want it relatively snug, but not so tight that it cuts off all the circulation. Hold on. It's irritating. So with the stack wrap, which is used to limit motion, we start on the inside. And we want it to lay evenly on that bottom. Bottom of this pillow should sit on the top of the standing wrap. You want it nice and flat. It's a little harder because this part of the leg is definitely wider on the top than it is on the bottom, which means you have to get a little more creative with how you lay the pillow against it. And for this track bandage, I choose not to tuck it in on the stack wrap because it's a little harder to get it to hold all of it at once. So you want a 1/2 inch to 1 inch of pillow showing at the top. You want even laps with constant or even pressure on it, so we get a nice even pull, and we don't have as much of a risk of cording the horse's leg. When we go over the knee, I want to make sure that it has, especially don't want to get too tight on the knee, to make sure that the horse is still comfortable. And so we don't get wounds on the inside of the wrap just from it rubbing against the joint, since it's a more of a higher motion area. And we'll go about halfway down the standing wrap, and then we'll go back up. I use the black so you can see the difference and where we end with the top wrap, or top track bandage versus the bottom. We'll go back up. Cool mare. We'll go all the way up. Cool mare. It's okay. And you want to end even with the top. This one just a little low. And then to finish it off, since this one doesn't have any Velcro, we'll use masking tape. There's multiple ways that you can apply the masking tape. I am going to use the 3 pieces method. You can also spiral it. You don't want to pull the masking tape too tight because you don't want to cord the leg. So there's one piece. You want the masking tape to end on the outside to make it easier for you to remove it. So you don't have to go searching on the inside of the horse's leg. Some people would think that having 3 different pieces could cord the leg. However, there's enough padding that it won't harm the horse. That is a reason that some people choose to do the spiraling method, because they believe that it adds a factor that more evenly puts pressure on the horse's leg. So now I've got my elasticon and some scissors, and we're going to apply the elasticon to the top and the bottom of the wrap in order to stabilize it and try to keep it in place. You don't want your elasticon tight, you just want it on there for its stickiness to hold it in place. And when applying elasticon, it's good to go ahead and pull it loose so you don't have to yank on it, and then re-roll it so to avoid pulling too tight on the tape, and furthermore too tight on the wrap. So next we're going to show an example of a wound bandage. With wound bandages you use roll cotton. We've pre-cut our roll cotton for today's example. So now that we've got our Telfa or non-stick gauze pad stuck on there, we'll go ahead and wrap this roll gauze around to help keep the Telfa pad in place when we wrap the wound fully. And so roll gauze sticks pretty well to itself. As you can see, there's this line on the roll of cotton, and you don't want this side against the horse. You want the opposite side against the horse, and it's the more absorbent side to keep or to catch any like oozing from the wound. You don't want too much turning either when you're applying this. Then we'll take our vet wrap. And to avoid the vet wrap from getting too tight, we start by pulling the vet wrap loose before we apply it to the leg. So I pull out this just a little bit, unroll it, and apply it. You want to avoid these wrinkles. Just the same with the standing bandage, you want the 1/2 inch to 1 inch showing of the roll cotton on each side. So for our hoof bandage, we'll need duct tape, a diaper, vet wrap, and whatever you're going to put inside the hoof bandage. For example, I have drawing salve or ichamol. You'll also need bandage scissors, and with the duct tape, you'll create a square. So to create our square, we'll get strips of duct tape. Alright, so we'll make a pattern like this, with overlaps on the edges. this were an actual bandage, I would make it a little thicker, but for today, for practice, we're going to keep it thin to save on duct tape. So I have all of my supplies tucked into my pockets so that they're ready. Now, at this point, take a hoof pick, clean out our hoof. Then we'll take our diaper, and you should buy diapers according to the size of the horse's hoof. This is a pretty small one to match her smaller feet. You want it snug but not too tight so that it stays on and forms around her hoof. And then we'll take our vet wrap. I like to start on the front, so that's a good place for me to hold on. And you don't want the wrap to be tight around her coronary band. So you try to stay pretty low. However, it's important to go around the bulbs of the heel in order to hold the wrap on. Ooh. It's gonna get there around the bottom. Close up the bottom of the hoof wrap. I'm gonna cover everything really well. Not too tight. That's a good amount of coverage. Now, to go ahead and rip the vet wrap. It works just like duct tape. You don't need the scissors to cut it. So now that I've got the vet wrap undone, or cut off, go ahead and apply your duct tape. You can choose to cut slits in your duct tape in the corners to make it easier to wrap on and make it look a little prettier. However, I chose not to today. So I just tuck the edges underneath. So that's a cute little wrap. Now next you can choose to grab more duct tape. Alright, so now we're just going to get a couple of strips, rather short ones, to finish off this wrap. I'm just going to go ahead and pre-cut them so that once I get down there I can do it all at once. Now Jess is pretty okay with the duct tape's noises. Some horses are a little more worried, so you might have to stand back from them when you're pulling off the duct tape. So to do these parts, I actually don't need to pick up her hook. What I can do is wrap one piece going each direction around each bulb of the heel. You want to make sure that the duct tape doesn't touch any skin, because it's kind of caustic to the skin. And then we just take our short pieces and go around the front, or the edge, the sides, and the front. All the duct tape in the front is below the coronary band, so her coronary band is just about here. And even though our wrap is fairly loose, I'm going to go ahead and cut some slits in it to make sure that it's not constricting her. So I have bandage scissors. They have a safety tip on them so that we don't cut her. We put the safety tip on the inside. Just cut slits. So I cut 2 slits in here, one on each side, and I'm going to go ahead, this is not required, but I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excess to keep it from wicking up moisture. And this concludes our bandaging video. We worked on wound bandages, standing bandages, stack wraps, polo bandages, and hoof wraps.